In our world, a significant event known as the fracture occurred, changing the course of history and altering the fabric of reality. Out of nowhere, a gigantic fracture appeared, emitting a mesmerizing blue aura that quickly spread across the entire world. This phenomenon came to be known as mana. This mystical energy swept across continents, leaving an indelible mark on the world and its inhabitants. The arrival of mana was followed by an extraordinary transformation. A minority of people exhibited an exceptional sensitivity to mana, earning them a unique gift from its effects. These gifted individuals were called awakened. With their newfound abilities, the awakened stood out from the rest of society, becoming a symbol of hope and inspiration. However, the initial surge of mana was a one-time event. The world was left with a permanent reminder of the fracture, a mysterious fissure in the sky. As time passed, humanity grew accustomed to the presence of the awakened. The world seemed to settle into a new equilibrium. Yet, the tranquility was short-lived. The calm was shattered as the world was once again engulfed by a series of violent mana storms known as gates. These gates became conduits through which malevolent creatures entered the world, wreaking havoc and challenging the existence of humanity itself. Monsters from unknown realms poured through these gates, testing the resilience of society and the resolve of the awakened. The world entered a new era, marked by turmoil and uncertainty. The gates introduced cataclysmic events that forced humanity to adapt, evolve, and fight for its survival. As the world plunged deeper into chaos, the line between reality and the unknown blurred. The story of this world, forged through the fracture, the emergence of mana, and the awakening of extraordinary individuals, took a dramatic turn as the cataclysmic events unfurled. In this ever-changing landscape, the fate of the world hinged on the actions of the awakened and their ability to harness the power of mana. As the gates continued to challenge the world's inhabitants, the journey ahead was fraught with challenges, discoveries, and a battle to restore balance and order. The legacy of the fracture and the subsequent era of mana had only just begun to reveal its true impact on the world and its inhabitants. A person was seen running, exclaiming, "They had to be late on such an important day." Observing this, a girl remarked, "Oh, he's here." C-rank hunter, name, Lim Ju-1, class, Garter, dash. The guild's main tanker, said Tisk, a newbie being late. Back in my day. C-rank hunter, name, Kim Jimin, class, fighter. The guild's close-range dealer, said that not again. Who was the one? Who was always late again? D-rank support, name, Shin Junza, class, maker. The guild's support, maker specialized in weapon creation, said I'm really sorry for being late. Lim Ju-1 said that don't be so intimidated. I'm just joking, you aren't even really late. Let's go. Kim Jimin said yeah, we can talk on the way. Hai and Wu and Doyeon are already inside. Shin Junzu said alright. Thought to himself that things are really bad. It has already been 3 months since I entered this guild. The first dungeon raid ever, and I'm late. Let's get it together. This is my first dungeon raid as a support. I have to prove that I'm useful. Inside the dungeon, B-rank hunter, name, Moon Doyun, class, assassin, The Guild's guild master, The Guild's close-range dealer, said by the way, was this your first ever dungeon raid? Shin Junzu said yes. This is my first time as a support. I have already been in a dungeon, a few times as a helper. Guild master Moon Doyun said then I guess I should explain a bit. Supports don't have the ability to fight like hunters, so you need to be more careful about where you are. There is a possibility of getting swept into the fight if you're too close, and if you're too far, we cannot protect you. The point is to keep a good distance. Since you're a maker, you just need to keep a good distance and make me a dagger when I give the signal. Easy, right? Shin Junzu said yes. Is that really it? You don't need any other weapons or? Guildmaster said yeah. I'm the only one who needs extra weapons anyway. It's an easy dungeon too, and it's your first. There's no need to overwork yourself. C-rank hunter, name, Lee Hyenwa, class, mage, The Guild's long-range dealer, said wait, I can sense mana. There's a monster here. Guildmaster said alright. Everyone, prepare for battle. We'll move in formation. Guildmaster said any remarks? Mage Lee Hyenwa said there are 3 small manas and 1 big one. It's big enough to be a boss monster. Guildmaster though that's strange. A boss normally doesn't come out of its area. And said alright. I'll take the boss. You guys get rid of the others. He said, how long would it take to make a dagger if you hurry? Shinjinzu said, about 20 seconds if I'm hurrying. It will only last for less than a minute, though. Guildmaster said, that's good. Start making them now. I'll get this over within 40 seconds. Then a system window pop-up showing information about monsters. Crystal Lizard, Danger Level, D. A monster that grows on monostones that grow in dungeons. Appearance and ability changes depending on the kind of monostones consumed. Lim Juwan said, I'll start. Kim Jimin said. Lim Juwan employed his tanking abilities to intercept the monster's attacks, shielding the party from harm. Meanwhile, Kim Jimin, functioning as a close-range damage dealer, delivered a powerful blow to one of the monsters, eliminating it. However, the remaining two monsters redirected their focus and advanced menacingly toward the rest of the party members. Then she thought that these guys heal faster than I anticipated, and said, watch out, two are coming your way. Lim Juwan said, is magic ready? Mage Lee Hyunwoo declared that he was almost ready. He then utilized his magical skill, conjuring a fire arrow that he directed towards the monster. As the fire arrow struck its target, an explosive blast of fire ensued. Witnessing the unfolding events, Lim Juwan took quick action, positioning his shield strategically to cover the mage and shield him from any potential harm. Mage Lee Hyunwoo, all done? Lim Juwan, all right. Now let's help. Shinjinzu thought to himself, that was a great order of attacks. This is how a guild fights. Guildmaster said, Jinzu, what about the weapons? Shinjinzu said, yep, they are ready, and thought this is no time to be distracted. Concentrate. Window pop-up showing information. Making. Rangaf, a maker's basic skill, utilizes the user's mana to make objects. Durability and quality of the item depends on the user's mana. After a moment he makes the dagger and pass to the Guildmaster. Guildmaster used his skill on dagger. Window pop-up showing information about Shadow Weapon. Rank A, uses up the user's weapon to transform it into a shadow weapon. A shadow weapon has increased quality and mana depending on the user's mana. After a certain amount of time, it disappears. He used the dagger to cut the head of the monster. Then the dagger disappeared. Lim Juwan said, is anyone hurt? Kim Jimin said, I'm fine. Shinjinzu thought that they're a greater guild than I imagined. Each one of them is amazing too. But their teamwork is flawless. They'll be able to become a top guild with enough accomplishments. Compared to them, I've only managed to make one dagger. I wasn't of any help. I even got distracted. Do I deserve to be with them? Guildmaster said, good job. Are you hurt anywhere? Shinjinzu said, no, thanks to you. But I wasn't really helpful. Guildmaster said, what are you talking about? I'll save so much money from your skill. As you saw, my skill consumes weapons, so I wouldn't be able to afford it even if I were to buy the cheapest ones out there. That's why I needed a maker. It seems like I just need a weapon with mana within to activate the skill. Well, anyway, good job on your first dungeon raid. I'll look forward to the next one. Don't ditch us, alright? Shin Junzu said, okay, thank you. I'll do my best. Lim Juwan said, now, let's pick up the loot, and Kim Jimin said, what? An earthquake? Mage Lee Hyunwoo said, the cave's not falling down because we got the boss, right? Shinjinzu said, they're the walls falling? Mage Lee Hyunwoo said, this seems like a pathway. I think it's connected to a place. Guildmaster said, a pathway. Lim Juwan shouted, a secret path. What else would that mean other than a pathway to secret treasure? All right, let's go. Kim Jimin said, I agree. Mage Lee Hyunwoo said, wait, we can't just go inside dash. Guildmaster said, can you detect anything? Mage Lee Hyunwoo said, no. Guildmaster said, it's fine. I don't think the whole place is gonna fall apart anyway. We'll be quick. Lim Juwan shouted again in excitement, all right. Guildmaster permitted it, let's go. Mage Lee Hyunwoo said, well, if you say so, I'll go too. Guildmaster said, all right, let's go. Junzu. Shinjunzu said, okay. Then all of them start moving inside the secret path. Then we see Shinjunzu running away from monster, and thought, shit, how did this happen? Everyone's dead. Everyone except me. That wasn't a monster that should have been in a D-rank dungeon. I've never even heard of a monster that can't be detected with magic. Then tilted his head and said, it's caught up to me. Then monster punched Junzu and sent him flying. He hit the ground and vomited blood. He thought, I need to get up. I can't die like this. Utilizing his weapon maker skill, Yahello forged a dagger and launched it at the monster. Unfortunately, the creature remained unaffected by the attack. Seizing the opportunity, the monster directed its attack to Jinza, unleashing an assault that caused him to lose his footing and plummet into the water. And he thought so. This is how it is. A D-rank support who can't even use basic buffs like healing. I finally came across a guild that actually needed me, but I ended up running away and abandoning that guild. How pathetic. I bet someone else would have been of more help. I wish I had never become an awakened. This was a dream I could never have attained. System window pop-up showing information you have discovered. 000 spring. Complete. You have fulfilled all conditions to become a player. Welcome, player Shinjin Zinem. Window pop-up showing information. Welcome, player Shinjin Zinem. There is a new reward. Would you like to check it? Yes, no player. Reward? Damn it. I don't know what's going on, but I don't care what it is. And he click yes. The scene unfolds as he walks atop the weapons he had forged, arranging them like steps in the water to ascend. A soft azure glow emanates from his body, a manifestation of his mastery over blue mana. Emerging from the water's depths, he finds himself face to face with the very creature that had cast him into the water a moment before. Window pop-up showing information about weapon maker, Shinjinzahi. You will inherit the experiences of your previous life. Reward distribution is complete. As the monster lunges forward in an attempt to strike, he opens his eyes, unleashing his latent skill. With a surge of power, he conjures numerous swords crafted from mana, launching a formidable assault upon the creature. The force of his attack propels the monster backward, causing it to collide forcefully with the wall situated behind him. Then Shinjinzo grabbed his head with his right hand and said, "What is this? Unknown memories are rooted in my head." The monster attacked him once more, prompting him to employ his skill in creation, crafting a shield to defend himself from the onslaught. However, the shield proved to be no match for the ferocity of the monster's attack, as it cracked under the force of the blow. He said it didn't receive any damage. Even if it's a golem-type monster, it has formidable durability. If the information from these memories are correct, even though it's a golem-type monster, its weak points and tactics to take it down will still be the same. The so-called golem-type monster has no particular weak points. Even if it receives damage, it has a regeneration ability. As this is the case, if possible, he used Skill Grid World. It's recommended to give it damage from multiple angles at the same time. With the skill user as the center point, materialize a grid in an equal distant radius. The creations made in the grid can move freely according to the skill user's will. Then the multiple swords hit the monster from all sides and destroy it. This grid world, I thought of it just as an auxiliary skill that would allow me to use my creations quickly. It seems that as the skill proficiency increases, it can be used as an attack skill itself. Subsequently, a window materializes, devoid of any details regarding the monster's name or the dungeon's identity. The only discernible words on display are, blank 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 boss blank 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 has been defeated. Shinjinzo said the system window. I can't see the dungeon or the monster's info. Then a pink light appears on the dead boss monster. Shinjinzo said, "What is this?" System window pop-up showing information. Passive skill magic absorption eye has been activated. Then pink color circles condensed mana are appear in his hand. He said, "What is happening? Let's take a look at what just happened. The memories of my previous turn. I don't know what exactly it means by previous turn, but it's definitely me. To be exact, it's another me from a few years in the future. And in that future, the whole world was fallen. There were things too terrible to speak of. Outside of that, I have absorbed all the experiences and knowledge from then. But even if it is the future, it probably won't be the future of the world I'm in. There are too many things out of place for that now." The status screen. In front of me, skill list, creating, link, rental pay, grid world. This was something I couldn't see in my previous life. So I've really become a player. A player is a term for the few who were chosen and had an awakening. According to my memories, at this time, players don't exist in this world yet. About 2 years from now, a small number of awakeners were chosen to be players. A blue screen appeared that was only visible to those who had been chosen. In the future, a mysterious thing called the system, something that sounded like a joke, was enough to put all the awakeners in the world into shock. The system wasn't the only thing given to players. Every player received a different reward. They received strength and skills separate from what they had as awakeners. The system and rewards, these two things that came out of nowhere, were then used by players and caused a more explosive growth compared to the other awakeners. Thanks to the work of the guild leader who was chosen as a player, the guild I was a part of, was able to develop into a first-class guild. I didn't have any direct relations to it, but it's what became the catalyst for my growth in my previous turn. To stand confidently with a developing guild, I thought it was a convenient when I first heard about it, but it really is. I can check the skills I learned and the proficiency in the system window. Initially, I believed it to be quite convenient upon first learning about it, but upon closer experience, it truly is. If my skills and proficiency in them transferred over from my previous life, the skill used on the golem corpse, it was a skill that I didn't have even in my previous turn. Window pop-up showing information about skill passive skill magic absorption accumulate energy from contaminated mana existing within dungeons. If accumulated magic goes past the limit, a new reward will be given. I didn't hear about a player having something like this. Is this a reward only given to me? It accumulates energy from contaminated mana. I kind of have an idea about how to get this magic. Let's think about it later. Since for now, taking care of the body takes priority. Hunter Association Headquarters, Red Eyes Girl said, Senior, can we just send that guy home? Senior said, what are you saying? She said, it's weird. A small guild attacked an unconfirmed dungeon and had an accident. 4 out of 5 people died, yet the only one to survive was a D-rank supporter. Senior said, well, I understand if he ran away while the other hunters were fighting. But it's not that. He even took care of the bodies and reported it to the association. And the gate already disappeared, so additional confirmation is not possible anymore. She said, what do you think, Senior? I think something weird. Senior said that, so you think a D-rank supporter killed a hunter? Wake up. This isn't a civilian case. And you know it too. Even if something weird happened, things that happen in the dungeon can't be ascertained. We can only gather evidence as it comes out. She said, that's true, but Senior said, don't you have any other guesses? It happens every so often these days. Hunters that go missing after finding a gate and not reporting it. If they report it to the association and it goes to auction, all they get is some prize money, so instead they risk their lives and go in secretly. After all, it's nearly impossible for small guilds to win a bid on a gate. Anyways, just call him for additional investigation or something. I am leaving first. She said, understood. Goodbye, sir. His name's Shinjinzu. I did say all that earlier, but this does feel different from a normal case. The situation is definitely understandable, but I still have this lingering feeling that something is off. First off, his disposition when being investigated was too calm. He has almost no dungeon experience and saw an accident, so it wouldn't be weird for him to be panicking. There were some missing parts in between, but he explained the incident cleanly. Of course, that could just be his normal personality. I have seen people like that before. Anyways, there's something that's off, but I don't know what it is. This is frustrating. Well, it's not something for me to worry about right now. I'll have to check into it. No matter how I think about it, something is weird. An unconfirmed gate? This dungeon didn't exist in the memories of my previous turn, and every guild member checked the gate bid form. There was definitely an association stamp on it. But if it's registered as an unconfirmed gate by the association, someone impersonated the association and fooled the D1 guild, or the association itself might be involved. And the thing that worries me more is that this hasn't only happened to the D1 guild. As the investigator said, unconfirmed gates with missing people cases have already become an issue. I don't know the whole story, but all the guilds on the news all have a common theme. They all included players, like guild leader Moon Doyun, and even prodigies that would be called heroes in the future. There is someone who wants to erase the existence of those heroes. Then what I have to do now is hide my abilities well. I've become the only survivor of a missing person case that will remain unsolved. If I do something suspicious, I'll be caught red-handed. I have around 2 years until the first player selection to prepare. I need to mobilize every skill and develop them. Until then, I need to find a way to grow without attracting too much attention. Is there a usable skill? I do have this. 1 year later, in the depths of the Ranki dungeon, distant echoes of swords clashing filled the forest. A lone warrior battled a menacing monster, their blades meeting in a furious clash. With a resounding impact, the monster defended itself with a sturdy shield, causing the warrior's sword to shatter into pieces. Swiftly reacting, the monster swung its weapon towards the warrior, who narrowly evaded by leaping backward. As the monster leaped into the air, closing the gap between them, the warrior dodged by a hair's breadth, swiftly maneuvering to the left where their teammates stood with their worried faces. Window pop-up showing information, Null Lord, Danger Level D, a high-ranked Null entity. It has physical abilities that exceed those of an average Null. The lever of a Null is not only physically firm, it also reflects / is immune to magic. In demand by magic-affiliated hunters. The person that fight before the leader of the party with his shaking hands said a Null Lord. In an E-rank dungeon, it should freeze to death. With a worried face said that even among the D ranks, I've heard that this monster is difficult to deal with. The Null Lord move forward to attack again, but this time his attack is blocked by Tanker of the party. Tanker said we won't last long if we just keep blocking like this. It doesn't matter what you do, as long as you try and damage it a bit. The party leader thought the death god of low-level hunters. The reason Null Lords are called that isn't just because of their superior physical abilities. Because monsters of that rank are weak to magic. No matter how low-level an adventurer party is, they highly rely on magic. However, Null Lords don't follow that logic. The hunters who were confident with just low-ranked magic faced fear for the first time, and the cost of their impudence and complacency would usually be the annihilation of the party. Party leader thought to himself that we only have one pure physical damage dealer, and still, I sucked at the hand-to-hand combat, and my weapon has been completely destroyed. I don't have any spare weapons left. Just how is he telling me to attack him? If I knew it'd be like this, I wouldn't have been greedy and would have gathered the maximum amount of people who knew that my urge to use as few people as possible and hiring a magician would bite me in the ass like this. That person. Window pop-up showing information about helper doesn't participate in the fight itself, but has the role of collecting and transporting byproducts such as magic stones. As long as they have a little monosensing ability, anyone can do it, so their treatment and recognition among the Awakeners isn't great. Is basically the team's errand boy. Party leader thought helper. Oh yeah, we had a helper. We're all about to die, but that guy is just carelessly. See him using skill creation. That. Does he have a maker aptitude? I can't expect much for the quality, but still. He said hey, Shinjunzu, turn around. He runs towards Shinjunzu and said you are a maker, aren't you? Can you make swords too? Shinjunzu said yes, I can. Party leader said that anything's fine, but please make me a sword. A very sturdy one. Shinjunzu said I apologize, but I joined as a helper, and not a support. Party leader said this isn't the time to say such careless things like that. Cannot you see we're all about to die? If we cannot defeat that boss, you will die too. Shinjunzu said fine, but I have a condition. After we clear this dungeon, forget everything about my ability, and when giving me my share, pay me the amount of an average support. If you are fine with that, I'll help you. Party leader said what? For someone who couldn't get a job as a maker, and is running as a helper, the quality is obvious. Do you think you can clear a dungeon with just weapons? Do you really want to be stubborn about this? And, what do you mean by forget? Just? Shinjunzu said how funny. Good weapons are a necessary element to clear a dungeon. I'll guarantee that. As long as you have this necessary element, you all will be able to clear this dungeon. Overkill Guild building, one of Korea's 3 major guilds. A girl knocks the door. The person sitting on chair said come in. The girl said President, the Awakeners Association sent a request for cooperation. He said is it because of the dungeon with the rank error? She said that yes. On the surface it's a cooperation request, but it seems they'll pay whatever we want. He said that they have no choice, do they? There are barely any Awakeners who can enter a gate that's been forced closed. He thought to himself wait, that face, I have definitely seen it before. A few weeks ago, a dungeon with a rank error appeared at Sokodong. I happened to have been dispatched to the area, so I dropped by the scene. I definitely saw him there, too. According to the report, he was a helper. Even if more have been appearing, the chances of an arrow dungeon are still rare, and the rank arrow dungeons with survivors can be counted on one hand. But this helper participated in a party where everyone survived not once, but twice. This can't be a coincidence. He said that it seems that more and more rank arrow dungeons have been appearing recently. She said a few days ago, a D-ranked dungeon switched into a B rank, and the entire party was annihilated instantly. He said the Awakeners Association must be having a headache. She said there are a lot of people criticizing the association. He said since it's undoubtedly the job of the Awakeners Association to guess, analyze, and announce the ranks of the dungeons, and thought that Ajasi at the association must be suffering right now. He said well, those with the trespass skill in our guild are gaining more income. Let's take on additional commissions for a while and just watch the situation. Anyway, what about what I asked you to look into? She said I looked into it here and there, but I couldn't find a weapon maker who is A-ranked or higher. But I received a B-ranked weapon from a Japanese blacksmith. Would you like to test it? He said you know how any weapon below A rank will get destroyed as soon as I use my skill. Even A-ranked weapons don't last long. Oh well, there are a few makers who are supports. To begin with, keep looking into it for now. I'm reaching my limit of wasting weapons like this. She said yes, understood. Then someone knocked on the door, and opened the door and said Tihone, something's happened. President Tihone said what is it? Then he said the dispatch request sent by the association. I checked the location, and it's a D-ranked dungeon where some of our newbies entered as a free attack team. Tihone said and what was the measured rank after they entered? He said C rank, and an upper C rank, at that. Tihone said who? I can't lose my newbies. It seems like an urgent situation, so I'll go there myself. At the dungeon gate a large number of reporters are present. It's the Overkill Guild. One of the reporters said, Guild Master Yoon Tihone, please say something about the continued rank arrow dungeons. I've heard that the Awakeners Association has sent a cooperation request to the Overkill Guild for the entry of dungeons. Is that true? Is the reason you came yourself because your guild members are part of this dungeon attack team? Awakeners Association member, she said thank you for coming. I didn't know that you would come yourself. Guildmaster Yoon Tihone said what's the situation like? She said the attack team members who went in are 6 hunters, 2 supports, and 1 helper. They all have higher than the required qualifications, but those numbers are meaningless, seeing as the dungeon has been reanalyzed as a C-rank dungeon. Tihone said how long has it been since the attack team entered? She said around 2 hours. Tihone said 2 hours. I don't know how many people are still alive, but I'll do what I can. She said thank you so much. Tihone said give me a sword. To his secretary window pop-up showing information about V-rank support, name, Minhisu, class, subspace opener. The secretary of Overkill Guild's Guild Master Yoon Tihone has the ability to create a subspace inside of places that are covered and closed off, and she give the sword to Yoon Tihone. Then he used his skill, Trespass, a skill where, by forcefully pushing your way into the racks of mana, one can knock down any wall in the form of barriers, including gates. However, when moving into another dimension, the Trespass skill only works on the user. Then he extended his sword hand, offering the broken sword to her. She said be careful Guild Master. He said okay and enter into the gate. Inside the dungeon this temperature and humidity. Considering this type of bad smell, it must be a reptile. Seeing how there are no pollutants on the floor, it's a monster with some level of intelligence and thoughts. And considering the rank of the dungeon, the answer is simple. Lizard man, and quite old ones at that. Window pop-up showing information about Lizard man, danger level, D. A reptile human monster that lives in groups of tribal units. Compared to the other human-type monsters, they have a considerably longer life, and their lifespan, intelligence, and fighting power are proportionate. You can guess the size of the group and their fighting power by looking at the corpses of the lizard men, and also the level of the distress party that was identified in the preliminary report. They might all be dead by now. I couldn't help but think of the worst-case scenario. But when I arrived at the location of the party, what I saw in front of my eyes was something I never could have expected. If anything, they're overwhelming them. Judging from their movements and speed, the lizard men are way stronger. If so, the difference In the midst of the chaos, Yoon Tae-hoon witnessed a warrior fall victim to the brutal lizard man attack. With a swift, determined motion, the lizard man raised his sword, ready to strike the finishing blow. Yoon Tae-hoon shouted, "It's not too late." He leaped forward, attempting to block the lizard man's attack, but his effort was thwarted when the attack is blocked by a mega sword of blue color. He said that magic? No, a weapon was made in midair. But who? Yoon Tae-hoon glanced towards Shin Junzo, who quickly noticed someone watching him. Shin Junzo started the counting 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and then said 10 by pointing his finger towards Yoon Tae-hoon. That's strange. I definitely remember 9 coming in. Yoon Tae-hoon said, "What the hell are you doing?" Lizard man swung his sword with a powerful strike, forcing his opponent to fall onto his back. He menacingly approached, ready to deliver a fatal blow. Seeing this, Yoon Tae-hoon rushed toward them, determined to save his guild member from Lizard Man's deadly attack. Shin Junzo thought that I didn't expect Yoon Tae-hoon to come to the rescue himself. He carries around a weapon he doesn't even use. Is it a spare? Yoon Tae-hoon immediately engaged in combat with Lizard Man, clashing swords to thwart the impending attack. He shouted for the person behind him to step back. In gratitude, the person responded with a heartfelt thank you. With remarkable swordsmanship skills, he launched a swift assault on Lizard Man, causing the reptilian foe's sword to drop from the force of his strikes. In a matter of seconds, a flurry of slashes rained down upon Lizard Man. Spattering green blood can be seen for these cuts. Lizard Man slumped lifeless to the ground, defeated, and thought, I haven't even used my strength to my fullest potential yet. Sure, it's a B-grade weapon, but it's just too weak. As another Lizard Man charged towards him, Yoon Tae-hoon swiftly leaped backward to evade the oncoming attack. Positioned to his right, Shin Junsi called out, "Hey, you," in a firm tone. "Does that always happen when you use a skill? That's some real shitty wear and tear." Yoon Tae-hoon said, "Are you picking a fight with me?" Junsu used his creation skill and make a sword and said, "Use this. Don't smash those poor weapons." Yoon Tae-hoon thought he materialized it with a single gesture. A weapon maker. Not just an average one, he's extremely competent and skilled. But then how come he's acting as a helper? I have heard of low-grade supporters who are low on money who act as helpers quite often. But, Junzi said, however, there's a condition. After you clear and leave the dungeon, you must forget everything about my skills and me. Yoon Tae-hoon said, "Do you think I can forget just because I want to?" Junzi said, "If you don't want it, go ahead and smash all your high-class weapons." Yoon Tae-hoon, though this weapon will get crushed the moment he uses a skill on it. But I guess having more pairs can't hurt. He said, "I understand. I promise that I'll forget." Junzi said, "Great. Oh, go on and run wild." With lightning speed, Yoon Tae-hoon executed a masterful move, skillfully striking the oncoming Lizard Man. Their swords clashed with a resounding clash, and the force of the impact caused the sword of Lizard to shatter into pieces. He thought that I was only planning on deflecting their attack, but the opponent's weapon got smashed first. My control over the weapon was way more than usual. Yet, is the weapon itself just remarkably strong? A weapon maker who can manifest a weapon that's at least over B grade on the spot. Huh? This is interesting. Let's see what it's capable of. Shall I crank up the power? The Lizard Man raised his sword high, executing a powerful vertical slash. Yoon Tae-hoon, however, deftly dodged the attack by shifting to the left. In a lightning-fast motion, he plunged his sword into the lizard's stomach. With a firm grip on the creature's shoulder, he vaulted onto its back and thrust his sword into the back of its neck, swiftly dispatching the Lizard Man. Then he grabbed the sword in his left hand and looked at the sword and said, "Not a single scratch. This means it need to at least." He heard a voice form behind Guild. "Master, you're here? We made it out alive thanks to you." Yoon Tae-hoon said, "It appears none of you were hurt badly. That's a relief. The guild members said we couldn't even fight with our own weapons. But thanks to that person there, we managed to hold out." Yoon Tae-hoon go near the Junzi and said, "What your name?" Junzi said, "What's the point in learning the name of a mere helper?" He said, "We should at least know a name to call each other by. I'm Yoon Tae-hoon." Then he said, "My name's Shin Junzo. I'll leave the mana stones at the gate entrance." Party leader said, "Ah, I see. Sure." Yoon Tae-hoon, "Wait. Jinzu, come with me to the boss room. Leave your stuff here," Jinzu said, "But I'm only here as a helper." Yoon Tae-hoon said this dungeon has already turned into an enro dungeon. That means if we don't defeat the boss, no one can get out, whether they're a helper or a supporter. Junzi said, but you're more than capable of taking the boss down. Yoon Tae-hoon said, as you saw before, no weapon can completely endure my skills. No matter how skilled I am, isn't it pointless if I smash the weapon you made for me? Junzi said, there's no way a weapon made by me will break. Yoon Tae-hoon said, that's what you think. This is a class enro dungeon. Creatures that inhabit this place are monsters far beyond the average lizardman. And if the boss lurking in there is the same, no amount of caution we take would be excessive. Junzi said, fine. I just need to come along, right? Inside the room of dungeon boss, window pop-up showing information about Lizard King, danger level, C+. The final form reached by a lizardman after more than a century of survival and shedding. Despite his small size, his strength and speed are many times that of a normal lizardman. Yoon Tae-hoon said it'd be better for you to ignore any of the already existing danger levels and information you have. Let's put an end to this as fast as possible. If we take too long, your weapon might snap in two. Junzi said, geez, seriously? I told you it won't break. If you can't trust it, just test it out. The boss Lizard King ordered his pet dragon to attack the humans. The dragon launched an assault, targeting both Yoon Tae-hoon and Junzi, but they managed to evade the attack by leaping backward. After the dragon's initial attack, Yoon Tae-hoon swiftly utilized the nearby wall to propel himself forward with remarkable speed, aiming to strike the dragon. However, the dragon countered with a swift tail swipe, which Yoon Tae-hoon deftly blocked using his sword but was pushed back in the process. Yoon Tae-hoon then harnessed the wall once more, springing up to renew his offensive against the dragon. But just as he was about to strike, the Lizard King intervened, blocking his attack and forcefully pushing him back once more. The Lizard King seized the opportunity and directed the dragon to unleash its fiery breath upon Yoon Tae-hoon. However, Junzi stepped in, conjuring a protective shield with his skill to thwart the impending fire attack. Despite Junzi's effort, the dragon persisted, shoving Yoon Tae-hoon backward once again. Then Yoon Tae-hoon go near Junzi and said, weren't you a weapon maker? Junzi said, a shield can also become a weapon. Have you never been hit by a weapon before? Yoon Tae-hoon said, when we get out of here, I have a lot of things I want to ask you. Shin Junzi. He darted toward the Lizard King with incredible speed, but the cunning Lizard King swiftly employed a chain weapon, ensnaring Yoon Tae-hoon's sword and reeling him in, setting him up for an impending dragon attack. However, Junzi intervened, firmly declaring, stop playing around and fight properly. With his skill, he conjured another sword for Yoon Tae-hoon, enabling him to continue the battle. In response to Jinzu's reproach, Yoon Tae-hoon retorted, didn't you ask me to test it out? He then addressed the Lizard King, taunting, gosh, you should say goodbye to your pet and kill the pet dragon with his sword skill. Seizing the opportunity, Yoon Tae-hoon hurled his sword at the Lizard King, but the wily ruler deftly dodged the attack. Yoon Tae-hoon capitalized on this moment and closed the distance, delivering a powerful kick to the Lizard King. The Lizard King crashed to the ground, vulnerable. Taking advantage of the Lizard King's fall, Yoon Tae-hoon unleashed his sword skills with precision, severing the Lizard King's left arm. The Lizard King, undeterred by his injury, grabbed his spear and set his sights on Junzi. With determined fury, he charged toward Junzi, thrusting his spear. But Junzi, quick on his feet, employed his creation skill to craft a protective shield around his neck, thwarting the Lizard King's attack. Said, what the? Who do you think you're pointing a weapon at? Yoon Tae-hoon appear behind the Lizard King and kill it. Then scene shifted to outside the dungeon. People are gathered. One person said, it's opening. Did they clean it? Reporters said, Guildmaster Yoon Tae-hoon. How was it inside of the dungeon? What about the boss monster? Is everyone safe? Secretary said, are you heard anywhere? Yoon Tae-hoon said, I'm fine. Guild members, thank you so much, Guildmaster. If it wasn't for you, we would have already. Junzi said, I've already received payment ahead of time, so I'll take my leave. Awakeners Association member, okay, good work. Reporter said, Guildmaster Yoon Tae-hoon. How did you manage to clear the dungeon so quickly? For you, the dungeon must have been too easy, right? Yoon Tae-hoon said, no, rather than me, it was guild members, so while everyone was blocking somehow using teamwork. Guildmaster. Yoon Tae-hoon dealt with all of them, right? Yes, that's right. All of our weapons got destroyed like this. You have no idea how dangerous it was. If it wasn't for the guild master, we would have all been annihilated a long time ago. Yoon Tae-hoon said, what are you talking about? When it comes to weapons, it was thanks to that person who kept making them for us. And that's how you lasted so long? Guild member said, pardon? That person? Yoon Tae-hoon said, the support who came as a helper. The weapon maker. Guild member said, weapon maker? I knew the person who came as a helper was a support, but did they have that ability? She said, I'm not sure. Yoon Tae-hoon said, didn't you all see how that helper made weapons? Guild members said, pardon? Weapons? Are you talking about the pickaxe? Wait. But I don't think that person even had a pickaxe. He brought it, but we must have lost it. He did mine all the mana stones, right? Yoon Tae-hoon thought, just what is happening? They all received weapons from him, so why does it seem like they forgot? Then a memory comes to his mind when he get a weapon for him. Rental pay? How did that person use a skill exclusive to A rank or higher makers? The person with white shirt and secretary said, Tae-hoon, what's wrong? Yoon Tae-hoon give the weapon box to white shirt guy and quickly run towards exit. The person with white shirt said, what up with Yoon Tae-hoon today? Yoon Tae-hoon said, where did he go? Did he already leave? The person with white shirt and secretary said, Tae-hoon, what's wrong? While running toward him, Yoon Tae-hoon said, Min-hee-soo, right now, I need you to find someone. Overkill Guild Building. One of Korea's 3 major guilds. She said, I've found Shin Jin-soo's location. Around 10:00 today, for a 5-member party, he entered a D-ranked dungeon around Songpagu. He said, good work. If it's Songpagu, it's not too far. She said, Guild Master, there's something I want to ask. Jin-soo is just a D-ranked maker. So why are you so interested in him? He said. Is that what it seems like to you? He thought a D-ranked maker. Of course they can't think otherwise. His status, background. Since all of the information is saying that he's a D rank. But rental pay, that skill alone refutes all of that. Window pop-up showing information about skill, rental pay, rank A, in payment of materializing and lending an object, can compel a request to the lender. The scope and compulsion of the request depend on the user's skillfulness. The skillfulness of rental pay was high, and I've never seen anyone use it like that. An ability that could lead to great fortune is being used only to hide his identity. A weapon maker like that could easily achieve a level like this. Well, I'll be able to know when I meet him again. That time, I've never felt something like that. I could finally use my full power without worrying about the weapon breaking. I've met countless blacksmiths referred to as the greatest blacksmith, but when I used my skill, all sword breaks, not a single one could fulfill my expectations. Not to mention, the creation ability of makers is limited to the form of normal weapons. But the weapons that he created largely exceeded that of the limitations of abilities and forms. As if such limitations didn't exist in the first place. If it's Shin Jin-soo's abilities, it might be possible that, which I couldn't use because I didn't have a proper weapon. The clear time of usual D-ranked dungeons being cleared by a 5-member party is around 4 hours. There's around 1 hour left. Hee-soo, what schedule is left today? She said at 7 p.m., you have a meeting with Guild Master Hyun-moo. He said, please cancel the meeting. I'm going to go ahead of time. I want to avoid any possibility of missing him. Inside the dungeon, the knight in full-plated armor killed the monster with one swing of the sword. The knight thought, no way. This is really a weapon a helper made. If this much mana could destroy the boss weapon, this must have C rank. No, at least a B rank quality. When my weapon broke into 2, I thought we were all done for. But to think the guy who entered as a helper had an ability like this, he said. It's amazing, simply amazing. I've never seen a sword of this quality before. Thank you so much, helper friend. If he don't have a guild, should we recruit him? She said, good idea. I think it's a shame that he's going around as a helper. He said, right. I have a good eye. Junzu thought I've used more mana than I expected. To think I'd meet a party that would struggle like this even though it's not an arrow dungeon. He said that, if I had just had mana left that time, it wouldn't have been like this. The incredible amount of mana I felt inside the dungeon before, after defeating the golem and using it all, it never reappeared. What I feel now is no better than a D-ranked awakener's mana. But it's a relief that there's no big trouble when creating weapons. To think my past life's memories would help me like this. The maker's basic skill, creating, which helps when making a specific object. Although it's a very intuitive skill where the quality is proportionate to the mana used, there's one other method that can help raise the performance of this skill that isn't yet known. That's the level of understanding. The higher the level of understanding of the object being created is, the higher the quality is. The best point of this ability is that as the quality rises, the mana's efficiency also rises. So even if you use the same mana and create the same object, based on the level of understanding, there is a meaningful difference in quality. After that hidden ability was revealed, I remember undergoing harsh training, material research, receiving training from a hunter as a support, going into the workshop and receiving weapon creating lessons. But the feeling I get is more than I expected. I don't know how much better it's gotten exactly, but in comparison to the mana being used, this level of quality isn't just additional, but it's true that it's still lacking. It's hard to use both creating and rental pay. Mana-related equipment is expensive, so there's no way I can get them right now. I can at least get mana potions. It's the only mana-related item that can be mass-produced. I should order some more potions. Although with a helper pay, it's still a struggle. But no one will accept a D-ranked maker as a support, so I have no choice. But the results are good, so it's a relief. There's only a bit left until mana absorption hits its accumulation goal. There's around 20% left. A few dungeon clears won't be enough. One dungeon clear is only a bit more than 1% of mana. The efficiency is too low. Then the only remaining method is to enter a rank arrow dungeon. In order to absorb a lot of mana at once, this is the only method. Compared to other dungeons, there are several times more mana absorption. And there's a place I've been looking into. The problem is that before I enter, I can't predict the difficulty of the rank arrow dungeon. The previous arrow dungeon would have been difficult if that person wasn't there. I need to guess that there will be at least a C-ranked boss, and prepare for that. The only method to grow as someone with a D-ranked awakener identity as of now is to check the reward for mana absorption. The knight said, "Good work everyone. Let's meet again next time." Junzi thought, nice, I erased their memories properly. He hear a voice coming from back Shinjin's oak. He turn around. Yoon Tae-hoon said, "Do you remember me?" Junzi thought so it didn't work on him. He said, "Will you believe me if I say I don't?" Yoon Tae-hoon said nope and give him a card. Junzi said, "So what business do you have with me?" Yoon Tae-hoon said, "I have something to talk to you about. Please give me some time." Junzi thought, the Overkill Guild, it's one of Korea's top 3 guilds. I can't get involved in such a big guild yet. I should give an excuse and get away. He said, "I have no time. I have a prior dinner appointment." Yoon Tae-hoon said, "You won't regret this conversation. I won't take much time, and dinner will be on me." Junzo said, "The position of guildmaster must give you lots of time. To think you'd have the time for a D-rank supporter." Yoon Tae-hoon said, "Let's say that's true." Junzo thought, "I don't like it, but I need to confirm how much of rental pay has worked on him." He said, "Fine, then just for a little while." Yoon Tae-hoon said, "Of course." Hey there, if you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button below. By subscribing, you will stay updated with our latest content, and it really helps support the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.